Good morning. As Father Ram said, my name is Jeff Bizon. This is my wife, Melissa Bizon. We are this year's new Consecration Sunday Stewardship Program co-chairs. We are excited to continue the work that is done in the past with this great program and move forward as we all grow in the spirituality of giving. Over the next couple weeks, you will hear from several members of the St. George community as they provide a personal witness testimony of their experience and learn more about setting and reaching your own giving goals. These times are challenging in many, many ways. And what I've come to find in my own life is that if I don't know where I'm going and I don't have a goal in mind, it's a bit like fumbling in the dark. It's certainly true in my spiritual life, and part of that spiritual life is returning to God a portion of what He has blessed us with. That's why we think the new Consecration Sunday program and programming itself provides a great framework to help you on your path in the spirituality of giving in a proportionate and systematic way by giving a certain income percentage and allowing God to guide you in reaching a little more each year for the glory of His kingdom. Ultimately, the question we encourage you to think about is, what percentage of my income is God calling me to give? The culmination of this program is Consecration Sunday on November 15th, which will be virtual and in person, including a lunch. We're working out all the logistics to ensure that we meet you right where you are, whether it be in person or virtual online, to ensure that you have the comfort level of participation for that special day. And for those that attend in person, we know that this will be a great opportunity to get back together, see one another, and celebrate the life of the church. And of course, as Father Ram indicated earlier, we'll be following all the appropriate processes and procedures and spacing to make this event a safe and enjoyable time. Over the next few weeks, we'll be reaching out to you to see how you're doing and to discuss your participation in this special time in the life of the church and the Consecration Sunday gathering. But there'll be much more to follow and much more information that we'll present it to you in the next couple weeks. For now, I'll turn it over to my wife, Melissa, for a more personal message.
My name is Melissa Bizon. I'm a teacher, a friend, a wife, a mother, and most importantly, a child of God. I hope today each and every one of you are reminded that you are a child of God and what it's like to have childlike faith. We are all precious children of God, and He's holding each of us in the palm of His hands. I find so much comfort in knowing that He is in control and I am His. I find even more comfort in knowing that my children are not mine, but His. I'm grateful that I'm reminded daily, both by my profession and by being a mother, of what it is to have childlike faith, as I'm now able to experience it through my children's eyes. I would like you to close your eyes, your lips, open your heart, and think back to one of your most vivid, carefree, happy childhood memories. What did you see? What did you hear? What did you feel, taste, and smell? Wouldn't you love to go back to that time for even just a brief moment? I know I would. My favorite memory takes me back to the times I shared with my grandparents. It takes me back to my grandpa's old blue single cab, bench seat, stick shift pickup truck. You could hear that truck coming a mile away, and all four of us, my two cousins, my older sister, and I would wait excitedly around the kitchen table after hearing that truck pull into the drive. Grandpa would come in with fresh donuts from town and would tell which of his boys, which we would all giggle as we were all girls, got to ride in his truck to the farm. I was beyond excited when he picked my sister and me, and more so when I got to sit right next to Grandpa. It was the most coveted spot because we could help him shift gears while driving. It is funny how something so little was so exciting. I remember the way the little knob felt in my hand as it vibrated down the road. You had to shift it like a letter H. I remember the smell of gasoline from his truck and the way my hair tickled my face. The windows were rolled down and music was on in the background. He would drive super slow through town and then speed up down the highway to the farm. That gear shift was the best. You knew joy was just around the corner. We pulled up to the barn where we jumped into the back of the truck and Grandpa loaded the hay and range cubes for the cows in an old silver bucket. The bed of the truck was wood, and you could see the ground passing by through the cracks in between. One of the best parts was going over an old wooden bridge and the truck bumping along and swaying as we made it to the pasture by the tank where we would feed the cows. He would call and honk his horn, and all the cows would come running. We then reached in, grabbed a range cube, and held it out. We would giggle and squeal with half disgust and half excitement when the cow's rough tongue got a hold of your hand, and then you would get sprayed by a snort. Grandpa would finish up, and his 4 boys would go wandering around and find the muddy creek bed to play in. We would get thrown back in the truck and head home. We smelled of outside and dirt. When we arrived back at the house, we would get hosed down outside by the water hose before being allowed to come back into the house. As we walked through the breezeway to get cleaned up, dinner was permeating through the open screens from the kitchen. The windows were the kind you had to crank to open. The large pecan tree in the backyard was the best place to stare up at the sky or to take a nap on one of the thick, heavy blankets my grandma made. The back porch was where we would listen to music and learn to dance. And the dinners, they made you think it was Thanksgiving. My grandparents were humble people of a simpler time who knew hard work. They would give what they could freely without a second thought. They got up early, went to bed early, but the moments in between were full. They were full of family, full of life, full of dancing, full of love, and full of giving their time, giving what little they had to make my best childhood memories, and the most impactful lesson only God could give me through my experiences with them. They gave everything they could to those around them, and they would put others before their own wants and needs. Looking back, what they gave me meant the world to me. As I reflect on my own childlike faith, this was it. When we visited, I had faith that it was going to be the best day. I had faith that we were safe. I had faith that it would be fun, faith that it would be delicious, and I had faith that even muddy little girls would get washed clean. It wasn't the big things. It was all the little things all together. God was right there holding me in the palm of his hands. That memory is my childhood joy, my childhood heart, my childhood smile, wrapped up in that old blue truck. That old blue truck taught me that giving for him would make me full. He would make me whole, and he would bless me more than I can imagine, simply because God was holding me in his hands. And hopefully, if I get something right as a mom, I pass down his lesson of that old blue truck to my own children. Luckily, I have been fortunate to be a witness to my own children's giving, and I'm reminded of a very simple gesture with my girls that takes me back to that same feeling when I was with my grandparents. I'm reminded of a humble joy, a faith that God is holding me in his hands and all is right with the world. Now, like when I was a child, let's shift gears together. Again, I would like you to close your eyes and try to figure out what sound you hear. Can you guess what sound that is? To me, that sound is the sound of a child's joy. That sound of a child's smile. That is the sound of a child's free spirit, free of worry, and that is the sound of a child's heart. But maybe not for the reasons you would immediately think. Over the past few years, we have been blessed to see our life through our girls' eyes and through their hearts. That is the sound we would hear many Sunday mornings as the girls would rush around to get ready for church. They would shake and shake their piggy bank to get out all their money, put it into the Ziploc bag, write their name on it so it wouldn't get mixed up with each other's, and excitedly tote it to church. The girls would wait patiently as the offering plate would come around, getting up quickly to put it in. I would sit back and watch this and feel my own heart burst with gratitude. Their smiles and joy were contagious. It didn't matter the amount. All that mattered was that they gave, and gave humbly, because they know better than I do what it's like to have childlike faith. I'm reminded of why it's important to have childlike faith. It is that same childlike faith that we ask you to trust and to remember, not because you are told to, expected to, but because of the pure joy you receive after giving freely. I hope you can reflect on your own childhood memory and remind yourself of how freeing and fulfilling it is to have childlike faith. And maybe you can see it through my children's eyes and their piggy bank. Or maybe, just maybe, you have a childhood memory that has meaning that goes far beyond that old, blue, single cab, bench seat, stick shift truck. Thank you.